Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news. Tonight we're going to be talking about Jadon Sancho. I mean, what a surprise. Jadon Sancho we're talking about tonight. Bloody hell, that'll be a real treat for us because we haven't spoken about him since probably this morning. But it is from Fabrizio Romano, so it does have some credence to it. We'll also be talking about Trippier, another outlet, The Telegraph, talking about United's interest in Kane and Haaland, United bringing somebody into the coaching network, and a few other stories to talk about as well. But I am a little bit late. I just want to say I'm a little bit late because I've just been watching Jaws. And I sort of got lost in the moment. Now, I hate Jaws. I hate great white sharks. I'm terrified of them. And I had to calm myself down before the show because even though I live an hour away from the sea, either way, I'll still be dreaming tonight that a shark is swimming up the M1 to come and eat me. So, yeah, I just had to calm myself down there. But look, let's get on to this story. This is from Fabrizio Romano. The Jadon Sancho transfer has effectively been delayed. Romano saying he doesn't feel that this deal's going to happen in the next few days. It's going to take some time. And I think what that basically does is it closes the door on this pre-Euro thing, which, to be honest with you, I'm actually quite glad for a change that I never believed anyway. But I know a lot of you did, and it's not going to happen, is it? I think that it reminds me, look, I suppose you learn, don't you? And some people don't learn, and I sort of respect the people who don't learn because they are a little bit, I'm like it as well. I'm a bit of a romantic. I want to believe. I want to believe in Ollie. I want to believe United will win a title soon. I want to believe that despite the fact that we're run like a jumble sale, we actually could become a big club again. But I think some people did believe that Sancho was going to be announced before the Euros. I hoped. I didn't believe. But it reminds me of August the 7th and September the 7th, where it's going to happen on August the 7th because he's going to wear the number 7. And then the date passes. And I think that with United now, on transfers, I will always err on the side of it's not going to happen quick. And it doesn't happen quick. It's a long foreplay. I mean, if United were a football club that did foreplay, we've not even took our tie off yet. There's a whole load of clothes got to go off before we even have a bit of that. So, the transfer is a while off. It might be Luis Suarez instead of Jaws, says Kenneth Hoagland. Oh, Suarez in the chat. What are we talking about there? So, yeah, Romano's saying that it's not a matter of days away. It could take some time. And I think that is where we're at now. I must admit, I did speak to people last week, as I mentioned on the show. I haven't spoke to anybody this week because I normally I would get a message or something like that, and it's just gone very, very quiet from numerous people. I think there are people still out there, who are clinging on to some hope, but it's not going to happen. And is Sean Turner rich? He does a lot of super chats, says Ali. Well, maybe he'll answer that himself. So yeah, I think that I wouldn't worry too much about the deal not happening. I think it's a transfer delay. I don't think it's not going to happen. I just think there will be that disappointment there with people that it wasn't done before the Euros. But you know what? I wouldn't even get disappointed. I'd just say this is what happens at United. They're incapable of doing quick deals. And I think people thought, we've got a new director of football, Woodward's leaving, and this, that, and the other, and thought that Matt Judge wouldn't be involved in negotiations, or everybody else who's normally involved in things wouldn't be involved in things. It's a very quick deal to do. I think it'll be embarrassing for United if Chelsea sign Haaland before we get Sancho, but it wouldn't surprise me because I think I think Sancho would be a United player. Sorry, I think Sancho would be a Liverpool player by now. I think he'd be a Chelsea player by now because we've had a bloody year to do this deal. We're not starting again. We were trying to do this deal for 3 months last summer. We've had a whole year, 3 months last summer, a whole year, and now we're going to use another 2 months of another summer. I mean, what is it you're trying to do? Like, you had 3 months last year. Surely it's just come back in. Do you want this money? Yes, let's get it done. But we're negotiating again on something we'd negotiated on all last summer. I understand. I totally agree with people. It should be done before the Euros. It should be done before the Euros. Park the medical until after the Euros. Hold the new shirt up, but we all know he's coming. It should be done quick. It should be. It's not a new deal. We've been working on it for a bloody long time. It should be done quick. I can't say anything more than that. But I don't know. It's like, I always like to use a cake as an analogy, don't I? It's like Manchester United last summer they made a birthday cake. And all they've got to do is deliver the birthday cake this summer. They've made the cake. All they've got to do is deliver it. And they've thrown the cake in the bin and they're making a new one. You've already baked the cake. Just deliver it. You know, a perfect realistic summer. Use Lingard for Rice, Pogba for Varane, buy Rafinha, 60 to 80 million net spend and boom. Maybe even a backup right back as well. Easy, says Noah. Doesn't that mean the rest of our transfers will also get delayed, says Jibak. I think we want to get this deal done and then go to the other targets. Well, that was the ideal thing, Jibak. But you're right, everything will get delayed now. We're going to waste half of the summer not doing anything. Did you watch any of the Mexico game? That was crazy to watch as an American, most entertaining game I've seen, says Jack. No, I don't even know the result. I saw there was a penalty and some VAR shit, but I didn't look at that at all. But yeah, I think that realistically, yeah, Romano's right. And look, Trippier, we'll talk about Trippier in a minute. We'll talk about Haaland and Kane. But we're not going to do any business before the Euros. And the Euros literally starts in basically 2 days. And that's it. You know, that there will be transfer conversations. Manchester United will be in transfer conversations. They can talk to Dortmund. It's not like Dortmund are going to say, we're not taking any emails, we're sat watching the Euros. Austria are playing North Macedonia. Like that, they will negotiate and things will happen. But of course, the deals themselves will not will not they won't happen. They won't officially happen. So yeah, I think that my issue with the Sancho thing is that you listen to what Romano's saying is that we're not even got to that point where we're negotiating with Dortmund. And what do we know on this channel about United transfers? And this is not speculation. This is fact. We know United can't work on more than one deal at once, and we know that United average 6 weeks. I said about a few weeks ago, and a lot of you said it as well. Look at the summer transfer window. You've got from the start of June to the end of August. It's 3 months. It's basically 3 months. If United take 6 weeks to do each deal, they can't even do 3 deals because 6 weeks times 3 is 3.5 months. So if United do what they normally do, they can't barely do 3 deals. So it's all right saying there's a lot. And look, positivity people will say there's a lot of the summer left, and there is a lot of the summer left. But the season starts in August. We'll probably do some tour in July. The Euros are now. The summer will go quickly. And we have to work quicker than we have to. Nick P says, great interview earlier, Mark. Can't believe how nice Ben Foster is. The ending was hilarious. He was pitching watch-alongs like a new concept to you. I know. Yeah, but look, you know, footballers, they live in their own world, don't they? They don't necessarily live in the world that we live. But what a nice guy. And what a great insight into Tom Heaton. What I liked about that chat with Ben Foster, if you've not watched it, do watch the interview with Ben Foster, because I think people interview people and they get all a little bit scared. And I'm like, I'm not scared. You can't say what you say and then be fake to their face. And I did ask him about Tom Heaton, and I said, look, to me, I'm not really interested in Tom Heaton. But he told us all about Tom Heaton and how important those reserve goalkeepers are. And he also spoke about Scott McTominay, which I found very interesting. Spoke about the goalkeeping situation, spoke about the transfer situation. But I did speak to him about Dean Henderson, and I did actually say to him what I've said to you. Dean Henderson reminds me a little bit of Ben Foster, who failed at United. And I did have that chat with him, and it was, he was very open to that chat. So it was good. I enjoyed it. So make sure you give it a watch. But yeah, I think with Sancho, let's get your patient pants on, really. Be patient. Have a little patience, as Gary Barlow said, because, yeah. But I do sense a little bit of frustration. Well, I sense a lot of frustration in the fan base, because I think some people were really hoping it was going to happen before the Euros, and it's clearly not going to happen before the Euros. But to those people, what I would say is I do think it will happen. I do think it will happen, but I'll say what I said this morning. The longer it doesn't happen, the more chance somebody else could swoop in. And United need to be careful of that. So let's see what happens. On to Kieran Trippier. I don't know whether anyone saw this on Twitter. Jonathan Schrager, who's normally quite good with the team news, he's put out there that it's not beyond the realms of possibility that Trippier will stay in Madrid, but there's certainly plans in place to return home, certainly to the sort of Manchester area. There will be a lot of clubs interested in him, but United will be one of those clubs. I'm not bored of the Trippier deal. I was just quite tired today. So yeah, Trippier is another player. And I think I said it first on this channel in January. I've said it a few times, I know. To name 2 players I think we'll sign this summer. I think we will sign Trippier, and I think we will sign Sancho. But neither of them are going to happen in June. They're going to happen in July. So yeah, I do think that we'll get both those players, but not pre the Euros. What delay, 2 weeks or 3 years, says Thomas? Yeah, I think you're talking about July. The interesting thing is, who will be our first signing now? Because the first signing could well be not be Sancho. It could not be Trippier. It might not be the centre-back. I mean, realistically, we could go and get the midfielder. There's quite a lot of midfielders that are available that we could go and work on. But unfortunately, we're not that club. We're not like Chelsea. We can't go and work on more than one deal. And unfortunately, I will bet you a lot of money that United are only working on the Sancho deal and will only be working on the Sancho deal in June. I bet we're not working on Sancho, Varane, Trippier, a CDM, selling Lingard, selling a keeper. We won't be doing all that. We'll go from job to job to job. If Chelsea get Haaland and Dortmund don't have to sell Sancho, do you think that would further push the Glazers to sell United, or will they sign Ronaldo? Cicero Vanson. I personally think that there's a good chance, I spoke about it on That's Football today, there's a good chance that Chelsea will sign Haaland. Now, the Telegraph are saying today that Manchester United really are interested in Harry Kane and Erling Haaland, but their priority is Jadon Sancho, which, I mean, look, I don't know where this Kane and Haaland stuff comes from, really. I really don't. I mean, I'm sure Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would love to sign Haaland or Kane. I'm sure he would, but I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening this summer. But I'm not massively worried about if Dortmund sell Haaland, they won't sell Sancho. I actually think they would sell both, because it's not like, imagine Chelsea get Haaland for 140 million, right? Dortmund will take that because in a year's time his release clause kicks in of 70, so it's double your money. All right, you lose Haaland, but you've got 140 million. So they will do it. But I don't think if they get 140 million for Haaland, they'll say, Sancho, you're not for sale. They might try it, but I think Jadon Sancho will say, but look, there's a gentleman's agreement that if the £80 million price is met, you'll sell me. And I don't want to be here anymore. So let me go. And I think Dortmund would say, okay, all right, 140 plus 80, that's 220 million. We'll just buy a load of players. So I think Dortmund will let Sancho and Haaland go, because I think what will happen is, with Sancho, there's the gentleman's agreement, and with Haaland, they don't want to sell him, but Chelsea will make them an offer they can or refuse. I think that's what will happen. So I'm not too worried that Dortmund won't sell Sancho if Chelsea get Haaland. I mean, it might happen, but I don't really think it will. Mark, Bruno deal took 6 months. Sancho is now on track for a year. So are we to assume the next signing we want to do will drag on for 2 years, says Sachin? Well, it's not a bad point, Sachin, to be fair. But well, we'll see. I think we will get Sancho. I think we will get Trippier. And I think we will get a centre-back. But I think all these deals are going to be happening in July, because those 3 players are all going to be playing in the Euros. I really do think that at some point Manchester United, and I'd be interested to see what you think, because Pratosaurus Rex says insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. This perfectly encapsulates Manchester United's board, which I agree with, and didn't expect any signing before July with the Glazers, but the way these transfers get drawn out is tiring. The inefficiency is mind-boggling, says Ram. And I think I agree with that, because the thing I was going to say there is that if you think about it, when did Solskjaer sit down with the transfer forum or the transfer panel? Did they sit down in February? Did they sit down in May? You know, have they had continuing interview conversations, which I imagine they have? Why are all United's targets playing in the Euros? Did they never think that might be a problem? And people will say, well, no, you can't say that, because if all your number 1 targets are playing in the Euros, then that's just tough luck. But when these players, like, some of them are playing for France, some of them are playing for Spain, some of them are playing for England, it's realistic to think that England, France, Spain will at least hit the quarterfinals. Some of them will hit the final, which is on July the 12th. So some of these targets of ours may still be playing international football at the start of July. Then they're going to have a week or 2 off. So not till the back end of July, mid to late July, are these players going to be available to buy. And they're all going to be around the same time. So Trippier, Sancho, Varane, maybe a Declan Rice, whoever, right? They're all going to be, we're going to have to negotiate with them and get them all done in late July. You can work on the deals, but it's hard to work on the deals when the players are in the tournament. So you've got to get personal terms done so that you can then work on with the club. Now, did United never think about this? And if they did think about it, why have they not got these deals done before the Euros? And it goes back to the frustration that some people have. The Euros are not a surprise. They were meant to be last year. They're this year. Everyone knew they were going to happen this year. if your targets are going to be playing in the Euros, do you not think it would have been a good idea to get a lot of the work done before the Euros on a couple of them, and then the other 2 you can do after the Euros? But what we're heading towards is a bottleneck. And a bottleneck that doesn't help Solskjaer, because Solskjaer will be back in training with the United players in early July. The ones that haven't played in the Euros, the youth, they'll be back in early July. The players that have been playing in the Euros will come back as sort of the 20th of July. But Solskjaer won't have all his signings then. So we'll start the season bringing players in, or the first game of the season, without signings. And this is always a very important thing, and this is always a very big bugbear for me, is that yes, signing players is very important within the transfer window, but it's also important to be efficient, because Solskjaer needs to work. We know United's coaching isn't the best on set pieces, etc. So is it not important to get these players into the club ASAP to work? And I think United already, and I hope I'm going to be wrong, but I think United already look like they've not planned this summer window out very well. Because if we're going to sign 3 or 4 players, when are you going to sign them? All in July? No, some of them are going to go into August. Some of them won't happen now because June's going to be a write-off. But they did have this period at the start of the Euros where I believe they should have got somebody in. Why did you not get Trippier in? Why did you not get Sancho in? You could have done one of those 2 deals before the Euros, and it looks like we've missed the boat. Do you think Telles will stay this summer, says Joe T? Yes, I do. I think he definitely will. United to get Sancho deal done and hoping Haaland stays at Dortmund another year to get Sancho to convince Haaland to join United with the release clause, says Lee Taylor. I certainly think United would like to go for Haaland next summer, but I think Chelsea are going to do what they did with Havertz last year. They saw an opportunity with Havertz. I think a lot of clubs wanted Havertz, but they couldn't afford him last summer, and Chelsea just went for it. And I think Chelsea are going to do it with Haaland. I think they know a lot of clubs can't afford Haaland this summer, so they're going to go for him now. If we just get Sancho, says Blade Ram, and the centre-back, we can't compete for the league. The DM should be priority. Shout out from South Africa. I agree with you, mate. I do agree with you on that one. I think you're spot on. Is it just me, or does anyone not really care if we sign Sancho? I'd rather spend the 80 million on a CDM and a centre-back. Sancho ship has sailed, and no, I'm not rich, says Sean Turner. Sean, I think I agree with you. I do agree with you on that one. I really like Jadon Sancho. We're going to buy Jadon Sancho, but I wouldn't cry if we didn't and we use that money elsewhere, because I do think that we need to build a team. Sally Devil Red 7 says the incompetence of this board is mind-boggling, and not less than a week since the Glazers promised us change and blah blah. We're already pissed off with them. Keep the protests on. Glazers out, says Sachin Murty. Yeah, I don't. I mean, look, it doesn't mean we're not going to buy all the players we need to buy. I mean, look, it would be very premature to start moaning about that. But I certainly think that already there is reason to be sceptical that this change in the club is just, a Pratt in a different hat, really. You've got a Pratt in a hat, and I think United have just bought a new hat and changed the hat, but it's still a Pratt. It's still a Pratt in a hat. So I think that's my fear. I've heard a lot of people saying, people are going to get blown away by what United are going to do this summer. There's a real level of efficiency now that we've got a director of football. And I'm like, I pretty much know how United works. I pretty much hear quite a lot about the incompetence in that club. There's a lot of people at work at Manchester United, and there's a lot of loose lips at Manchester United. And effectively, I don't think there is any change at United in relation to this restructuring and directors of football or anything like that. The things you hear is it's still the same people negotiating with clubs. It's still the same people making decisions, and therefore don't expect major change, i.e. don't expect United for the transfer window to open and Jadon Sancho be announced. Look, I would love it. I would love tomorrow morning if we suddenly hear Sancho's happening. It's going to happen. It's going to be announced today. I don't expect it. I don't think it'll happen. But we can all live in hope. One thing I did want to bring in, just very, very quickly. I'll bring this in first. T-shirts. It's nice and hot in the UK at the moment. It might be nice and hot where you are. If you want to get yourself a T-shirt like me, they are under all our videos now. You can just click the links on under our videos. You can see them all under there. But it is also in the video description as well. No, it isn't. I haven't put it in there. What a prat. But the pictures of all the T-shirts are underneath the video anyway. Just click them on there and find the ones that you want. What I wanted to say as well is a bit of positive news here. I'm a firm, but I'm always going to be that United fan that if United do something properly, I'm not going to be a little stubborn person and say, nah, you've done loads wrong in the past. I'm not going to acknowledge something good. Justin Cochrane, I think is his name, I think I've pronounced it right, has been appointed as head of Manchester United's coaching and development around the youth setup. Now, this is quite a significant signing because it's a specialist. It's a specialist brought in from outside. I think he was in England under 17s. He's been involved in England. He's been at Tottenham. There was even talk of him getting the England under 21s job. So he's got a really good reputation. And I applaud that. I'm not going to sit here and be negative about it. He's got a great reputation. He's coming from outside. He's a specialist. This is the sort of thing that should be happening within the club throughout. Chief executive, director of football, coaches, we should be bringing in specialist coaches from outside. So I will applaud it when United do something like that. And I think Justin Cochrane, who's been brought in, has come in from, somewhere with a really strong CV that isn't a mate's rate appointment from within the club. So I applaud that. I think it's a really good thing. Can he teach defending? He's going to be doing it with the youth setup, Sally, but I do want to be praising Manchester United. I think most United fans do. I think some people think that United fans are quite negative. We're not negative. We've just got a lot of reason to be negative. If United announce, I've seen that Liverpool are apparently going to increase their attendance of Anfield by 7,000. If United announce tomorrow that they're going to do some work on Old Trafford and increase the capacity from 75,000 to 90,000, I would applaud that. I know it's still the Glazers doing it, but I would still applaud it. I'm not going to applaud good decisions. I'm going to pick up on the bad decisions, and oh my God, there's been plenty of them. But if they do good things, I will acknowledge it and say it's good, and I think most United fans will. The reason we're negative is because there is so many bloody incompetent negative decisions made by the club. So I think that's a bit of good news with Justin Cochrane, and I like the idea that he's an external specialist coming in. Loved the Ben Foster interview, especially his honest insight regarding the keeping hierarchy relationship versus outfield players. Get him back on the United stand. It's a fantastic interview with Ben Foster if you've not read it, not watched it, by the way. It went out at lunchtime. It really was really enjoyable because we were speaking about United. Obviously, he was at United. He was at United for 5 years. I think he only played about 20 games, and yet he's got 12 England caps. So he didn't play much for Man United at all. But he was here under Sir Alex, when Ronaldo was here, Solskjaer, Roy Keane. He was here at Michael Carrick, Ollie. I asked him about that. So he was here for some quite key years. And he's had a fantastic career afterwards. And did you know that Ben Foster's made the most saves? He's the goalkeeper who's made the most saves in Premier League history. So he's a very good goalkeeper. He's a really good conversationalist. And also what I really, really liked is I asked him about technical things. Like, I absolutely cannot stand inverted wingers. I like the cross to come in quickly, naturally. He was talking about that because he was talking about strikers and on crosses. And he said, when somebody cuts inside, not Ashley Young when he used to play on the left and he cut inside and put a cross in, he's basically saying it's so much easier for a goalkeeper because you can step off your line, you know that they're going to whip it in and this, that and the other. So really interesting. And he mentioned the strikers who are hardest to deal with. So yeah, it was very good. I really did enjoy it. Well worth a watch. Thanks for the contribution, Mikael Roach. Mark, would you rather buy Sancho or keep City from buying Grealish? I feel latter is the more crucial and we should buy Grealish, given the choice, says Chinmay. I'm not going to get into that, Chinmay. I don't want a negativity around Jadon Sancho. Of course, if I had a choice between Grealish and Sancho, I would make a decision. But we are going for Sancho, and we are going to get Sancho. So to start saying we shouldn't get Sancho, I understand that, but we will. Discussions on Saul to United. Saw quite a few rumours that he will leave. Why not United? On a side note, is he a CDM? Jeff, we spoke about Saul Niguez this morning. He's not a CDM. I think he could play there, but he's not a CDM. He likes to tackle. He's got good positional sense. He's good at passing. He's not a CDM, but he would play in the pivot if he came to United. An absentee landlord does not always encourage responsible tenants. Cochrane was a centre-back, by the way, says Sahaj. And hey, Mark, Dortmund supporter here, even through the disrespect. I feel sorry for you being part of the Glazers. Ruining football, says Bear of Sweden HD. Well, thanks for the sympathy, mate. I mean, it's we do have our issues with our ownership, unfortunately. So yeah, Justin Cochrane, I wanted to bring him in. Also, Christian Romero. Romano was talking about this. Christian Romero, the Atalanta centre-back. I don't know whether he's actually an Atalanta centre-back now. I know he was on loan from, I think, Juventus, and they've bought him, and United have apparently bid 39 million. I've always said there's nothing in this deal, and the reason I know there's nothing in the deal is because this person has said there's nothing in the deal for quite a while. Well, he's come out again, Romano, and said there is a denial on both sides that United are interested or even bidding for Romero, which is Christian Romero, who's a centre-back. What's your opinion on City swap deal with Saul Niguez, says Max Riley? To be honest with you, I think it's... I think if United buy Varane and Sancho, but City get Saul Niguez and a striker, and Chelsea get a centre-back and Haaland, we're probably worse off. We're not closing a gap on City and Chelsea by buying Sancho and a centre-back if City get Saul Niguez and a striker and Chelsea get a centre-back and Haaland. They're stronger, or at least we've all bought 2 players. When you're trying to close a gap on your competitor, you don't mirror what they do. If they buy 2 good players and we buy 2 good players and Chelsea buy 2 good players, I don't care if we get a backup right back and a second choice goalkeeper. That does, it's 2-2-2 and they're already ahead of us. If Chelsea are going to get 2 players, a centre back and a striker, and Man City are going to get a midfielder and a striker, and United want to close a gap, then they've got to get a centre back, a midfielder, and a right winger, because you've got to do better. But United don't think like that. United will buy Sancho and a centre back, and they'll want the fanfare out. Look at what we've done. We've backed Ollie. We've done it. Well, you haven't. I'm telling you, and I'll keep saying it. If United do not buy a centre defensive midfielder, it's not a good window. Just because you get Jadon Sancho and a centre back doesn't make it a good transfer window. It makes it makes them good signings, but it doesn't make it a good transfer window if you don't close the gap. I mean, the analogy I would use on this, right? You're on a boat, yeah? You're on a boat, and Jaws, what I just mentioned, Jaws is swimming around your boat, right? And there's 3 of you on this boat, right? And there's 3 holes in your boat, and in 2 minutes' time, you're going to sink if you don't fill those holes, right? So Jaws is swimming around. He's got his ketchup in his mouth. He's ready to eat you, and there's 3 holes in your boat, right? I'm plugging a hole, someone else is plugging a hole, and someone else is plugging a hole. I plug a hole, he plugs a hole, and the boat's still sinking. And I turn around and I say to Joel, Joel, why are you not plugging a hole? Well, I thought we'd be all right. Well, it's too bloody late. We're all going to get eaten now. You can't say it's a good summer just because you get a centre-back and Sancho, because there's another big hole, and you still sink. Yes, Sancho's a good player. Yes, a centre-back's a good player, but there's still a big hole there. And I think what United are banking on, if they do that, what United are banking on is that, yeah, we haven't really done what we need to do, but we have plugged 2 holes, and they won't notice we're sinking until it's too late. They will bank on the fact that you all get hyped by Jadon Sancho and you buy the shirt. They will bank on the fact that you all get hyped by a centre-back and you buy the shirt and you get excited. But you don't realise that we didn't fill the 3rd hole, and that I'm not going to close my eyes to that. I'm not. For me, they've got to get a CDM, and if they don't get a CDM, they're taking the piss. They're just trying to pull the wool over the eyes. Mark, this delay is the difference between us and teams like Man City and Chelsea. The difference is their owners love and care about their teams, says Mark Friedman. I don't even know if it's they love and care. Maybe they do. I just think that they just want to win. That's the difference. What does our director of football really do, says Agadoo. Push by an apple, shaker, treat. Haven't noticed the difference yet. A proper director of football would be demanding and know what to do. Agadoo, our director of football is Mr. Murta. He ain't going to be demanding when he's been given the job by the people he needs to be demanding to. This is the problem when you appoint somebody from inside. I've worked in restaurants, I've worked in all sorts of places, and I do remember working in a restaurant, and I do remember the guy who ran the restaurant. He promoted somebody to be a manager of the restaurant so he could have half the week off, and that person used to be head waiter, and then he became sort of manager, and basically he was always in the pocket of the owner. He would never stand up to him because he was just so grateful for the promotion. But if they brought in an external manager for half the week, he would have been a specialist, and he would have been, look, you know what, you brought me in to be a specialist, I don't agree with this isn't working well. But the person who got promoted up was always indebted to the person who gave him the job, that he'd never stand up to him. And this is the problem when you appoint somebody from within. Murta's been in that club for ages. Murta's good mates with Woodward and Solskjaer and everyone else. Is Murta going to become director of football and start throwing his weight around, or is he just going to be, oh, I'm so grateful to be in this job? Whereas if you brought a director of football externally in, they would come in with a personality, because they don't really give a shit about friendships. They're brought in to do a job, which is why I'm not really a big fan of internal appointments, because unless you're already successful, I don't mind internal appointments when you're successful, but when you're not successful, I think internal appointments are about mates' rates and maintaining the status quo. Jadon Sancho will be a smooth criminal like Michael Jackson, says Francisco. And we're talking about Michael Jackson's songs there. He did sing Smooth Criminal. We're not talking about any of these rumours and stuff. Administration part of the club behave like it's a 9-to-5 day job, not ambitious. Oh, forgot they're former bankers and accountants, says Gustav. Well, wasn't there that story before that, is it Matt Judge, last summer, Matt Judge or Ed Woodward turned their phone off in the transfer window at a certain time? I can't remember where that came from, but there definitely was a story to that effect that an agent was trying to get in contact with them, but their phone was turned off or something like that, which is just crazy, absolutely crazy. Make sure you smash a like on the video, by the way, and subscribe bottom right hand corner. Nearly 10,000 watching, so thanks everyone for tuning in. Greenwood has had mad power without backlift and can play off the shoulder of the last defender, says Mahad. I think he's having a personal conversation with somebody. It was Evra, it was Patrice Evra, wasn't it? Yes, big shout out to everyone in the live comments like Rishab and Sam Diamond and Field Marshall. Yeah, it was Patrice Evra, wasn't it, who said that they turned their phone off. Working 9 till 5, that's what bankers do to make a living. I don't call them bankers when they're working in football, though. I call them something else. It rhymes with bankers. Rath says, apparently it was Matt Judge and he turns his phone off at 8 o'clock. I mean, United stand doesn't start till 8 o'clock. You know, not that we're involved in transfers, but if he wants to forward it to me, we could deal with that at 8 o'clock. When his phone goes off, agents could ring. I could go, hello, yeah, we're live on the United stand, but I'm Matt Judge finishes at 8. Okay. All right, your name's Saul Niguez. You're Saul Niguez's agent. You want to come to United. He wants 140 grand a week. What are we thinking, chat? Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it. You know, probably do a better job than him. Yeah. So yeah, that's on with that. We spoke about Trippier. We've spoken about the Telegraph. Ben Foster. Oh, one other thing I wanted to bring in as well. Today is good evening, welcome, and tonight I'm going to tell you something. Today we are celebrating 5 years of Eric Bailly at Manchester United. It's been a hell of a ride and it looks like he may continue. Anyway, I'm not gonna try and do a crap David Attenborough. 5 years since Eric Bailly signed for Manchester United, which means that it's 5 years of Paul Pogba because they signed in the same summer, didn't they? We got Bailly, Pogba, Mkhitaryan and Zlatan in the same summer. 5 years is a long time, isn't it? It's a long time. It's a long time. I'm not going to do it anymore. It's a long time, Eric Bailly, 5 years. And I thought, well, you know, sometimes we don't really acknowledge that passage of time. Has, and are Eric Bailly's 5 years a success at Manchester United? What are you thinking about in the chat? And also, Pogba's been here 5 years as well. I mean, it's a long time. Can you blame Paul Pogba for wanting to leave United? 5 years and, he's not been in a title race once. He's not been anywhere near a Champions League final. I don't think we've been in a Champions League quarter-final with Pogba, have we? I don't think we have. No. Yeah, we have. Barcelona, weren't we? Barcelona with Oli. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good, is it? One quarter final in the Champions League and no title race in 5 years. You can sort of understand. You can sort of understand why Paul Pogba would want to go and get a career. Because to be honest with you, could you sit Paul Pogba in the face and keep a straight face when you lied to him and says, Paul, the next 5 years will be different? Can you honestly... That's the scary thing, isn't it? You know, when we talk about Eric Bailly 5 years at the club and we talk about Paul Pogba 5 years at the club, can you honestly think the next 5 years are going to be any different to the last 5 years? What's going to be different? We've had Mourinho, we've had lots of money spent in relation to that summer with Pogba. We've had, Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, Bruno Fernandes. It's just been spent badly. I think United could spend more money, but I think it's been spent badly. I think over the last 5 years, and I'm not asking somebody to do this, but I bet if you added up all the money we've spent over the last 5 years, considering Lukaku came in at that time for 70 million at some point as well, I bet over the last 5 years we've probably spent close to 500 million quid. And we've had one Champions League quarter final and no title races. And we've won 2 trophies. it's pitiful. It's really pitiful. So what makes you think that if we spend another 500 million over the next 5 years, anything's going to be any different? Now, 500 million is a lot of money, but I just think United failed because of the board and the people we've got working within the club. I think we're just a team full of incompetence. Mark, which younger player do you think will be a surprise revelation at the Euros? I'm excited to see how Dylan Levitt performs, says Joe and Daniel. Well, you know, Jordan off the channel, he's Welsh. Me and Jordan on That's Football on Saturday afternoon are doing a watch along, but I've asked Jordan to come on because he's Welsh. So I'm like, he's Welsh. I've got a Welsh person on a watch along with me, so I'm very excited to watch Wales anyway because of Dan James and maybe Dylan Levitt will play. But we've also got Jordan, who's Welsh, so it's going to be a really good watch along on Saturday. So I'm quite looking forward to watching the Welsh. I hope they do well. But yeah, let's go back to the Eric Bailly thing. Mark, the top four are going for big names like Kane, Sancho, Haaland, but with Liverpool likely not making any big signings, how can they challenge for top spots, says Gagan. This is not the Liverpool stand, so I don't really care about Liverpool. But I do think Liverpool will be... I think Liverpool, even if Liverpool don't buy anybody, I still think they're in a better position than we are because they've got a better coach and I think they've got a better squad, a better first 11. Do you think Ollie tells his coaches to play Football Manager over the summer to become better coaches just like Ollie does himself, says Sean the Prawn? Ruben Neves and Zaha coming to us. Xhaka leaving. Good luck with Winks and Tripwire, says Zayn Miasi. Mate, Zayn, I actually hope you do buy some good players because I think the top six misses Arsenal. You know, have you ever seen that series Homeland, where the soldiers is held hostage for 8 years? I feel like you are Damian Lewis from Homeland, Arsenal. 8 years, 8th place, you know, away from home, everybody misses you. You know, I hope you do buy some players and come back because you are it's like you are being held hostage by mid-table matters. So I hope you do come back, and then we can have a conversation about your club having anything to do with my club, because you ain't in a conversation with us at the moment. You're in a conversation with Burnley. And if you do buy some better players and start fighting for 5th again, then you can start getting into a conversation with us. But look, we want you back. We want you back. But no one's forgotten about you. I know you're being held hostage, but you know, no one's forgotten about you. We are hoping that you can get some credibility back. Eric Bailly, 5 years. Has it been a success? No! Don't know why I'm grabbing a pen to try and pretend that I'm writing down facts. Of course it's not been a success. I think he's only played 100 games in 5 years, which means he's averaging 20 games a year. I'm sure it was 100 games. 20 games a year. Too injury prone is our Eric Bailly. So I don't think he's been a success. I was surprised he got a new contract, but nothing United does surprises me. I tell you what, I'm trying to hold back the vomit of thinking who we might be giving new contracts to this summer. But apparently there's just a tweet that I need to check here. So yeah, I don't think Eric Bailly has been a success. I love Eric Bailly, and I think some of it's not even his fault. But for 5 years, I don't think it's been a success. Dean Jones Soccer, who is I think he used to write for. Well, I mean, he used to write for Euro. He writes for Eurosport. He used to write for Bleacher Report. Basically, what he's saying is a bit of an update here. He says, "Let me just get this back." Okay, so he's saying that Jadon Sancho to Manchester United is likely to happen this summer, as United want to bring him in, and Borussia Dortmund are open to leaving. However, there is still some work to be done regarding the fee, stating the obvious. The next thing says, Jadon Sancho's camp are increasingly confident a transfer to Manchester United will go ahead this summer and that personal terms are in place. Stating the obvious. That's the update then. I thought it was going to be something good. But, I mean, that's the... You know what? I'll call a spade a spade. I'll call a spade a spade. I've said this to you before. You're going to get regurgitation and you're going to get new information. That is regurgitation. Dortmund are open to selling Manchester United. He's likely to come to United. Personal terms aren't a problem. That, I'm very good at reading something and cutting through the crap and bullet pointing what's actually being said. What's being said there is United want Sancho. Dortmund are open to selling him. Personal terms aren't a problem. But we've known this for 3 weeks. We have known that for 3 weeks. That's not breaking news. That's reassuring news. So I don't think that is anything that we need to write home about. Jadon Sancho's camp are increasingly confident a transfer to Man United will go ahead this summer and that personal terms are in place. Still work to be done regarding the fee. The club-to-club negotiations between Man United and Dortmund for Sancho are not quite as advanced as some fans might hope, and it is understand they still need to find an agreeable valuation. Well, that's not breaking news either, really. That's the same as what we started the show off with Fabrizio Romano saying it's not a matter of days away, it could take some time. So, it's just a reiteration of where we're at, isn't it? So, which I think we all know. We know that. And that's the sad thing, really, isn't it? Because there are people out there that were really hopeful that this was going to happen before the Euros, and it's not going to happen before the Euros, is it? It's going to happen after the Euros. Now, I don't want to. All I'm going to say here is something technical. It doesn't mean it will happen, but I will admit this, that you could get a scenario in the middle of the Euros where it says that Manchester United are losing. Manchester United have agreed a deal with Dortmund for Jadon Sancho. I don't know how that will work in the Euros, but it could happen in the Euros. You could get a scenario within the Euros where we get a story, say 20th of June, United have agreed a deal with Dortmund. But I don't know how that will work. I can imagine that scenario coming out. In fact, I think you will get. I nearly called them gangsters. You know who are they? You know what I mean. I suppose you could call them fraudsters. You will get the Twitter accounts on Twitter. I guarantee over the next 2 weeks, the ITKs. In fact, someone will probably watch this and do it now. At some point in the next 2 weeks, they will say a deal has been agreed with Dortmund, but it won't be announced until July. Breaking news: a deal has been agreed with Dortmund, but they're not going to announce it until after the Euros. I guarantee somebody will do that. It could happen, but I don't know. I could imagine Romano putting a tweet out saying United and Dortmund have agreed terms for Jadon Sancho's transfer. But I can't see how you would put it out, because you would then not be able to have Sancho come and do the medical. So I don't know. I don't know how it's going to work over the Euros. But I mean, what's clear is that he will not be holding a United shirt up until after the Euros now. I was all for giving Murta and co a chance, but no first team player or any Deadwood out by now is the same old rubbish as normal, says Joshua Bowwater. Yeah, I think unless you brought in an external director of football with the power to actually do something, this was always going to happen, this inability to get things done quickly. It still amazes me how United are unable to negotiate multiple transfers at once. We're in dire need of an actual director of football. We are a joke, says Fergus. We're in dire need of specialism, Fergus. We need specialism. That's what we need. We need specialists. That's what we need. Save me, please. Everyone hates me for no reason, says David De Gea. I don't hate you, David. I love you. I want you to stay. I want you to stay at Manchester United as our number one. I love you. Mike says, breaking. United has agreed terms with Dortmund. Deal to be announced after the Euros. In fact, sod it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to claim it before all the lying ITKs. Wait a minute. I'm just hearing it in my ear, which has got nothing in it. But hold on. Whoa. Everyone be quiet. Right. Breaking news. United stand is going to take credit for this. Breaking news. Manchester United have agreed terms with Borussia Dortmund for the signing of Jadon Sancho. It's a done deal, but it's not going to be announced until after the Euros, sometime in July or August. But they've agreed it. And you'll never be able to prove that I was wrong, because he will be signing at some point in July and August. It's breaking news. United have agreed a deal with Dortmund. It just won't be announced until July or August, unless somebody else jumps in and does a better bid. So there you go. It's an exclusive on the United stand. We've agreed terms with Dortmund, but it won't be official until sometime in the future. Somebody will do that, by the way. Will do that. Darren, I'm joking. He says, you might regret that, Mark. It's called sarcasm. I'm joking. There's nothing in my ear. I'm either lying or I'm hearing voices in my head, and I'm not hearing voices in my head. Arca, welcome to the United Stand Members Club. Thank you very much. Breaking news, Burnley has beaten Arsenal to Neves, says WAP. Mark, who would you prefer as CDM from the world football to play for United right now? In general, most midfielders in world football I would rather play than our current CDM, because we haven't got one. But ideally, I like Declan Rice. I like Ndidi. I think Basuma could do a job there. They're all Premier League players as well, so you don't need to worry about whether they're going to adapt to the league. So I would like any of those three. There are players on the continent that I quite like. I do think Zakaria would be worth a try. I do. And I think the fact that Man City are rumoured to be in for him makes me think, he probably is a good signing. Yeah, so, there's 4 straight away. Blomberg says he only knows Premier League players, no one else. Mate, I've been doing this for 6 years, and some people have been watching this for 3 years, 2 years, 5 years, 6 years. And I think everybody knows I know a lot about players outside of the Premier League, because I've spoken about nearly every player. It feels like I've spoken about every bloody player that's ever played football outside the Premier League, but I certainly do. And the chat certainly does as well. So jog on, get your trainers on, get your shorts on, get a vest on, and go for a jog. Good evening, says Man United Van Camp. Kev's in the house. Shout out to Kev. Any news on Phil Jones to Newcastle, Mark? I presume they have him undergoing extensive medicals right now. Nick P, if Newcastle want Phil Jones, me and Kev will drive through the night, we'll stop and have coffees, and we'll share the drive, and Phil Jones, he can play in the back, he can play in the back with a sleeping bag. I'll even provide a Nintendo Switch. It'll be the most comfortable drive he's ever had. We'll have classic Queen on, and Kev will bring his Best of Duran Duran CD, and we'll do it for free. We'll do it for the community. So if Newcastle want to buy him, we're there. We're ready. At a moment's notice, we can have a car with petrol and 3 meal deals, and we'll also get another one on the way up. He'll have the drive of his life. But I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think Phil Jones is going to leave. Kev's just said we'll even throw in a pizza. Are we throwing the pizza at him? No, let's not throw. Let the past be the past, Kev. We're not throwing any pizza at Phil. As long as he donates his pink boots to charity, we'll all move on. As I've said before, though, jokes aside, I would be very sad when Phil Jones leaves, because he is our thing, isn't he? I don't know what he is, but he is ours. Trust me, Mark, we aren't getting any other players except Sancho, probably a few other players like James who are with high expectations, but not first-team players. We'll find out, Arca. We will find out. Phil Jones leaving would be a successful summer, says Nora. I mean, to be honest with you, I want to get rid of some of the deadwood, but I don't massively care whether it's Phil Jones or what. I really want players to come in. Hi, Mark. Can your technical team introduce predictions, top scorers, top assistant, etc. in United Stand where we can predict during this Euros? Says Jinish. Yeah, I'll just crack. We'll just crack on it now. I'm going to get some bits of paper and I can just hold it up. If I stick them on the screen, that might work. We are going to do a Euros preview show on That's Football actually on Thursday afternoon. If you're interested in that, I'll give you the link for that, because I can tell you this: Jordan is doing a watch along with me on Wales on Saturday afternoon. And we are going to be using some of the United Stand crew on That's Football for watch along. So Kev's going to do one with Jay. I think they're doing the Saturday night Belgium-Russia game. So yeah, you're going to see a lot of United Standers on That's Football for watch alongs. We're mixing it up. It's going to be a good old Euros. Look, we're scouting basically. If United aren't going to scout, we thought, you know what, we're going to watch a lot of Euros games and find players for United, and then we're going to write it in an email and send it. In fact, we may as well send it to bloody Santa. We may as well send it to the North Pole because it's got more chance of being read. Leipzig have a very good CDM. His name is Tyler Adams. He's American, but he's very good on the ball, has great passing, he's very hard working. He also can play right back, says the guy's podcast. Got first link to Sancho in the summer of 2019. That's before COVID turned epidemic to pandemic, having vaccine. Damn, says Gustav Rod. Ben White to Man United, says Churchill. Get out. Verratti for CDM. So I love Verratti. I'd love Verratti at Manchester United. I just don't think he he would want to go to Manchester United. He's also a Mino Raiola client, so I like Gravenbach at Ajax, but he's a Mino Raiola client. Do you think Martial has a future at United? Says Jason. Yeah. I think he will be here next season. Ward-Prowse better than McFred? Yeah. Definitely better than McFred. Yeah, I like Ward-Prowse. He's very unlucky not to be going to the Euros. We could sign him. We could sign Ward-Prowse. He's not at the Euros. No, you see, United. If you're not at the Euros, you know, there's probably players that United are looking at, like, and their agents have rung up and said, and then United go, are they playing in the Euros? No. Well, sod off then. We're wasting a month of the transfer window on purpose. We're purposely only targeting players in the Euros so we can use it as an excuse to lose a month of the window and spend less money. You cheeky sod. We're not trying to buy players who aren't in the Euros. Do you not know who we are? We're Manchester United. We're trying to get rid of a month out of 3 just by people being in the Euros. Get out. I hope the Glazers will produce a good transfer market this year. This is the first one since what they've done, but I'm not holding my breath, says Chris Morton. That's a great point by Chris. If Manchester United were serious about, being sorry for the Super League or sorry for the last 16 years, if they were really serious, they would have a player in by now, because the protests happened when the season was still on. Imagine if that was Chelsea or Man City, right? And they pissed all their fans off and they were like, shit, we've got to do something really quick to get these fans back on side. Get that Sancho deal done. So as soon as the transfer window opens, we go bang. And, it's a bit of an apology and it shows that we're sorry and we're trying to fix things. Have United done that? No. Joel Glazer probably thinks, I attended a Zoom call. That'll buy me another 5 years. Where is the effort? There's no effort. There's no effort to show reform or change. It's the same old. Link us to a player for 6 weeks, reap all the benefit of the social media, and then we'll announce it. There's no speed, there's no efficiency, there's no sorry, there's no reform, there's no change, there's no drive, there's no efficiency. I've said that twice. But that's what they should have done. As a minimum, that's what they should be doing. They should be doing that. WAP says, Villa are going to be the dark horses next season. Already have a fantastic window compared to us. They built from the back, now building the midfield. I know they've bought Bendia. I don't know who else they've bought. But, yeah. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. I'm going to go and watch the rest of Jaws. I think that shark's going to eat someone. There's some silly music, and he looks like a bit of a nasty shit to me. I think he's going to eat someone. There's this girl swimming in the water at the moment, and I think she's flirting with a guy on the side, but it's dark and there's some deep cello music playing, and I don't think he's coming into. I don't think he's going to be like the old dolphin. I don't think he's going to pick her up and take her for a ride that she's going to enjoy. I think he's going to eat her. I nearly think he's going to eat her out. That's wrong. I think he's going to eat her up. I don't think it's going to end well for her, but I'm going to go and watch the rest of Jaws. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. Smash a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe, bottom right hand corner. We will be back in the morning, of course. Of course, if anything happens later on tonight, then we will go live. But I think the only action we're going to get in relation to Manchester United tonight is going to be watching the United Way again or something like that. Thanks everyone for watching. Fantastic show. Really enjoyed it. If you want to get your t-shirts, you can get them through under the video. If you can see the t-shirts, just click them and then it will take you to a place where you can pick different ones. Thanks everyone for watching. I will speak to you soon. Have a great evening or day or morning. It's Jaws 1. There's only one Jaws film and it's the first one. The rest of them are rubbish. Kev wants me to text him. Oh, don't. I hope you haven't kidnapped Phil Jones. I was only joking. Can it eat the Glazers, says Sean O'Sullivan. Speak to you in a little bit. Thanks for watching. Super smashing great.